Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel. And today we are talking about America's Got Talent. We are talking about week 3 of the judge cuts. Some acts made it through. One act got the golden buzzer. We'll be going through all the performances. Joining me to do this today is my co-host, Eric. How you doing, Eric?
Doing good. I had to reach back to my bed because I forgot to pick up my sign, which I'll need at some point today, probably.
All right, so this is the exact same as the past 2 weeks. 18 acts perform, 7 acts advance. 1 is advanced through the golden buzzer. But joining us today, not on our podcast, but on the episode, we had a special guest judge. It was Martina McBride, country singer. What'd you think about how Martina did, Eric?
I wasn't paying too much attention to her, honestly. I mean, she did fine. Again, I judge the guest judges only by their golden buzzer pick.
So
we'll get to it.
All right. So Eric, we both saw this one episode, and I want to ask you, if you had written an article about this episode, what would the headline be? What do you think is the headline of this episode? Or is that too hard of a question?
Let's see. I'd say America gets it. No. America's Got Talent judges get a B.
That's the headline of the night?
I don't know. I mean, I'll say the headline. Actually, no. I'm going to get to the headline later. Headline is that they listened to at least 2 of our tips on the golden buzzer situation.
But not for the better? Or for the better?
Oh, for the better, but it could have been even better than it was.
All right. Well,
What's your headline?
This is not going to be like a podcast where we're going to be saving the results for the end. Let's kind of start like in the meat and potatoes of it. Like, we get the results. Who do you think was robbed of these people that advanced? Just to go over really quickly before we start, the people who advanced are the Sacred Rihanna, Noah Guthrie, We Three, UDI, Quinn and Misha through the golden buzzer, Martina McBride, the Savitsky Cats, and I think they're called the Pack Dance Team. So that means everyone else was cut. Who do you think was most robbed of the bunch?
The only change I would make, other than giving the golden buzzer to a different act, I think the 6 of the 7 that made it through deserve to make it through. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. I would have switched Oliver and the Savitsky Cats.
I'm not so high as Eric. There's a few acts I would probably have switched, but I guess we'll kind of get into that. Just to recap, though, for the next week's episode, there's only going to be one more episode of these judge cuts. After that, we are going into the live shows. And I was actually reading some news on America's Got Talent Wiki. Apparently, most of the acts are known for the final episode. And apparently, except for one, so there is a chance this is incorrect, but the act that I gave my golden buzzer to during the audition rounds, Front Pictures, is probably not going to be on that list for performing next. And that's got me a little bit bummed. What about you, Eric? Do you have any feelings on that?
Well, if they did disappear suddenly, that would be annoying. Yes, agreed.
Yeah, that's just something else. It's also other acts that are unconfirmed to perform are Annalise Knock. If you remember her, she was Belo Knox.
I'm okay with her not going.
Well, it's probably going to be between one of them for the final spot. I think there are 19 out of 20 acts performing next week or it's 17 out of 18 acts that are known. But that's just something I'm kind of thinking about. Let's kind of move on to this golden buzzer, because that is, I feel, the headline, in my opinion, of the episode. It's that Quinn and Misha, this dance duo, this older lady, gets the golden buzzer from Martina McBride. Do you agree with the decision to give them the golden buzzer?
Okay. Before I get into the negatives, let me start with the positives. First of all, they did not get the golden buzzer at 9 o'clock. Or in the 10 minutes surrounding 9 o'clock. Kudos on that. At least I wasn't expecting them to get it. Having said that, also, one more positive thing. They're not a singer. Kudos. But the reason I wasn't expecting them to get it is because they didn't deserve it. And there were several acts that did deserve it, but whatever. What are you going to do?
Yeah, pretty much. Let's let's start to go through these acts, right, Eric? Do you think?
Let's go in order, yeah.
Let's start going in order. I just wanted to get some of the big headlines out. So the episode, it starts in the generic way that America's Got Talent episodes usually start, with voiceovers from the judges and Tyra Banks saying generic things like, "This is when the competition means something. Go big or go home." Do you find any good advice in their usual pieces that they send it there? Because
that's not the point.
What are we supposed to do with that? Like, it's just them spouting like generic, like, go big or go home.
It's like before. It's generic cliches. But you know what? I'm not going to go into talking about before. I am going to mention this, though. I saw an article that shook me to my core this week. And that is that apparently ITV might be canceled. If ITV doesn't renew X Factor next year, they're considering replacing it with Before, which to me would be replacing my absolute favorite show on TV with my least favorite format I've ever seen in my life. And if they do this, then I give up on humanity. I'm sorry. It's just bleh. Okay, back to AGT.
Is the show Rebecca Black was on?
Yes.
Is it good? I haven't been watching it. I watched it for Rebecca Black, and that was it.
It's an absolute train wreck of a show. Actually, the person Rebecca Black battled, James Graham, I've been downloading his performances at least because he was on X Factor a couple years ago as part of the 8-piece boy band called Octo Boys. They weren't actually called that, but everyone called them that. And and I like him, but I think the format of the show is hilariously bad. It's just bad. I mean, it makes AGT's formats, any nitpicks you have about AGT's formats are like nothing compared to the avalanche of issues with Before.
That's a pretty big thing to say. I think there are a lot of problems with America's Got Talent, but
compared to Before, America's Got Talent is perfect.
All right, let's move on to our first act of the night. It is a mother-daughter duo. They're called the Savitsky Cats. They
no, they're not called the Savitsky Cats. They're not cats.
Yeah, the Savitsky.
The mother and daughter are not cats.
The name of the act is what I was saying.
Okay,
the name is.
I was trying to make
Savitsky
a terrible
Cats.
joke and it just flopped.
All right. Well, they have this whole story. They are actually the mother and daughter. I think it was actually maybe just the daughter, one or the other. I wasn't sure. They say they're actually allergic to cats, which is
what?
Which is a little bit weird.
That's amazing. Okay, you know what? They can go through. If they're allergic to cats and they got the cat to do that, that's fine.
So I want to ask you, Eric, did you think they did a strong performance or was it a catastrophe?
You saw my tweets, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, God.
So it wasn't a catastrophe.
No, now that you brought it up, we have to go into it. Okay. So, literally last night, that line from Howie broke me. Seriously, I was broken for 5 minutes. I'm pulling up the tweet now because now you asked for it. Okay. I wrote, if I wake up dead on the floor between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night, it's probably because Howie made another pun like catastrophe. And then I realized, but like an hour later, I realized it was just pointing out to me on Facebook that I tweeted the phrase "wake up dead" in response to a pun early on tonight's AGT. I think Howie Mandel finally broke me.
I think Eric has some catitude issues.
Oh. No. Podcast over.
All right, let's focus on these guys, this act. They do a pretty cool act. The cats are all doing all these tricks. There is one moment where one cat I think gets a little bit distracted. But what did you think about their performance?
Would not be impressive for dogs. For cats, I guess it's cool. I wouldn't watch it for more than 10 minutes.
I will say that of all the acts that I have seen on America's Got Talent, this act would be the most difficult for me to replicate or try to replicate. There was a show on a while ago. It's like, I Can Do That. I think it was canceled like a while ago. and it was like they would take celebrities and like try and do these kind of
I remember
things.
that show. Nicole was on that show for no reason.
Yeah, I imagine like this being one of those things, and it just being impossible because you can't train cats. It's impossible. I that it. All right, I was very hard on them in their auditions, but I have a little bit come around to like this is a talent that these people have that they managed to pull it off. Do you agree, Eric?
Yes, it's a talent, but I wouldn't watch it for more than 10 minutes. I wouldn't put them through, honestly.
Yeah, they're actually the owner describes them as divas, which I just thought. I already used my catitude pun, but that was where I was originally planning to use it. I just want to say they are impressive. They have advanced. They are one of the acts advancing. I think they're cut next round, probably. It's going to be a very uphill
If
battle.
they're not, and I have to hear more cat puns from Hallie,
or me.
This podcast might be canceled halfway through this season.
If there's one thing, like I can look into the crystal ball and see that's going to be coming in the future rounds, there's going to be more cat puns, both from me and from Howie. And
okay, let's just say you cannot do them, and let's just let Howie be the one that does them, so we can hate him, and I don't have to hate you.
This podcast is on the verge of becoming catastrophic, so I'm just going to say let's kind of
no, bye.
let's.
I'm done.
So that is the Savitsky Cats. And final thoughts I just want to share, like I said, I think they're cut next round. I do think they're impressive. I maybe still would have, if in my group of people that I'm putting through, I honestly might have still put them through. Just all I can really say. I do still think they kind of deserve their spot. And that's really all I can say. Do you think so, Eric?
No.
Ooh. All right, let's kind of move on to Blue Tokyo. It's a dance group. We see kind of really quickly their montage, which basically means they're not advancing. But I actually kind of thought they were really good. Did you?
They were good. I wasn't blown away, honestly.
I wrote down strong, really good, but montage, so we know where this is going, and it's pretty much where it goes.
That's what I wrote down as well, pretty much.
Which is a shame because I thought they were pretty good. And with the right narrative and like the focus, they might have advanced, honestly. Like if they had done like the full on edit that they gave like We Three, like focusing on one or two of their sob stories, they probably would have advanced. But
they don't have sob stories, do they?
Eric, we can't be so biased to sob stories. This is just how America's Got Talent is. Let's unless you have any final thoughts on them, you want to move on to the next one?
Let's move on to the next one.
All right, so really quickly, we see OC Music and Dance. They're another group that is montaged. They're a singing group. I think they're the ones that did Praying, right? Were they the ones?
Bad. It was bad.
I wrote they were good.
What?
I
How?
They were okay. I mean,
no, they were all in different keys from each other. I don't know if it was editing, but it was bad. I mean, like, I don't know. That one didn't work for me. I'm sorry.
I don't like being harsh to kids.
Oh, there were kids?
I think there was, right? Was this the one? Or maybe I'm confusing. I think
the next one were kids, definitely. But
I thought they were good. That's all I can really say. I mean,
yeah, I don't know if it was editing, or if they were actually in the wrong keys, different keys from each other. But it didn't sound good to me. I'm sorry.
All right, I guess let's keep it going then, right?
Yeah, let's go. Let's keep going on.
All right, so we move on to the Pack Dance Team. They have this whole story where they, this director, I think is what her role is. She's described by the kids like as her mom. They're all high school kids. She talks about how she helps them with their problems and tries to make them better people. And she seems like a pretty cool person. Do you think so, Eric?
I can't judge people based on America's Got Talent introduction packages.
Right, you are. That is the correct answer. Because she could be a very nice person. I'm assuming, yeah, she's probably a very nice person. But these edits are always very tricky. When you're watching America's Got Talent, you have to be a little cynical to kind of see what's going on. But that's something against them. That's just something like for the show in general.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on.
Howie buffed them.
Yes, he did. What do you think about that?
I think Howie's wrong.
The thing is, they have a lot of personality. They are a group that is, I think
They
they,
were also in sync, though, to be fair.
yes.
And the choreography was good, and the theming was good, and they at least tried to put some production behind themselves and put on a show. They were in my top 5 of the night.
I wrote down for my notes that they're impressive, they're good, a lot of personality, but and then 100% next round fodder, right?
Totally. But having said that, they did not deserve a buzz, and they deserve to go through.
I'm a little indifferent because I don't. I mean, they're good. They're a good group, but I don't have that many thoughts on them. Is all I can really say.
Okay, that's fine. That's you. That's okay.
And I do want to say also the director, like we were joking before, but I do want to say like even if it is a little cynical, I do still believe that the narrative is true. And I mean, good for her. She seems like a very cool person. Uh, any final thoughts on them, or do you kind of want to move on?
I like them. Like, I hope they can surprise us and not be fodder next round, but I think they will be.
Yeah, maybe they're one of those acts that's gonna be like on the bubble, and it's gonna be between like the three of them, and maybe they'll get the judge save. But I don't see people going out of their way to vote for them, right?
Okay, I would agree.
All right. So let's kind of move on to this segment that's kind of done. It's done in two people are shown at the same time. It's the two young boy singers. So it's Angel Garcia and Jeffrey Lee. We get them kind of one is kind of shown more than the other, which kind of had me leaning where this was probably going to go. Angel sings a Spanish version of Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars. Jeffrey sings One Moment in Time. And I want to ask you, Eric, if you were judging this, would you have taken one of them through, taken both of them through, or taking none of them through?
Honestly, neither of them through. Yeah.
Wow. Eric is harsh on child singers.
This year I am. And here's why. Angel was good. He picked a contemporary song relatively, but I've heard so many better singers than him this season. And it's not fair to a kid to put him through when he's clearly going to be fodder.
For my notes for Angel, I wrote very strong performance, but he's montage that we didn't get the full thing. So right there, I was like, okay, that's kind of a bad sign. And then we focus a lot on Jeffrey. He talks very maturely. He seems very like wise beyond his years. We saw so much more of him. I was leaving this performance thinking it's going to be Jeffrey, and I was surprised that it wasn't, which is just so crazy because the whole story was that he was with this the young girl Celine Tam from I think it was last year. Am I right? Yeah. Was she was last year, and she made it.
Here's the thing about Jeffrey. I know she made it pretty far, but she also would have been cut
top 12, I think, right? Or
yeah,
top
20. But producers would have liked to enter earlier, though.
This is like a horrible thing to think, but like I just imagine Celine Tam because they were like a duo, these two of them. I just imagine Celine going to Jeffrey and going, "Ha, I beat you." That's just me being like a terrible person. But Jeffrey, I think he deserved to move on. Do you?
Of the two, he had a better case for moving on, but honestly, I still wouldn't have put him through.
Angel, I feel if he had advanced, the producers are going to hold him into like the Spanish section, like how they did Michelle Suzette on American Idol. They're going to want her. They're going to say like, keep singing in Spanish. Jeffrey, I feel, has the ballads and those like the big ballads.
But here's the problem. He's 13. Those ballads are too old-fashioned for him, for his age.
There's some modern ballads, I feel.
The ones he's been picking have not been modern.
I mean, like, All of Me by John Legend.
I'm saying, yes, he could pick more modern songs, but he hasn't so far.
That's not on him, though. That's on the producers forcing him.
I would tend to agree, but still. I also didn't, again, these things are not on him, but he sounded great. I didn't like the arrangement of the song, honestly, and I didn't like the song choice at all. But I think that, yeah, I like him a lot. But for me, he was probably number 8 on my list.
I gotta disagree with you, Eric. I would have put him top 5 for the night on my list, which is kind of crazy to think. But I mean, Angel would have been like 8 or 9, like kind of just like on the bubble for my ranking.
That was Jeffrey for me, honestly.
Any final thoughts on them before you kind of want to move on?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, so really quickly we get this this segment of singers, and one of them is Miss Trish. We saw her in her auditions, and here she's singing "If You Don't Know Me by Now" by Simply Red. This is just a question out of curiosity. How old is this song? Do you know? Do you know when it was released?
I don't know. What I do know is that if she didn't forget her words, she probably would have been my favorite singer of the night, besides Noah.
You know, I'm of the opinion that like to be a singer on America's Got Talent is like a gimme a little bit for some aspects. And I feel like if you make a mistake, even something small, because you are in such like a
I'm not saying I would have put her through. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if she did not forget her words and she sang with the tone from the first 10 seconds for the entire song and didn't screw up, she would have been one of my favorites.
Yeah, I just like
in a hypothetical situation.
Singers are kind of like in a privileged section of like the American Idol like hierarchy of like rankings moving forward, and
especially on American Idol, we're one of their only singers.
Yeah, but this is America's Got Talent, and
you said American Idol.
Did I? My bad. I'm sorry. America's Got Talent. You get what I'm feeling, and I just feel like if you mess it up, even a small thing, and we're gonna criticize a dance group like for being slightly off a little bit, I feel like it should be an instant elimination, right?
Yes.
Honestly, it's harsh, but I maybe even would have buzzed a singer who like forgot the words just because you are so
that if you're gonna have a buzzer, it's not gonna be part of a show. Yeah, I would agree. Honestly.
Yeah. It's funny. We haven't seen that many buzzers like these past couple of weeks. We saw one tonight, well, last night, but otherwise, I don't think we've seen it that much, right?
Right.
Which is kind of sad. I like the buzzer. I like it. I like when it's it adds a little bit more to the story. And which is weird because also the one act that got a buzzer also advanced, which is pretty nuts. Next we get really quickly some more people montage. It's Kazi. We get barely enough to form an opinion on. She does an original song, and there's nothing really.
Not even barely enough. Not enough to form an opinion.
It's like one line, and it's not even like a full line.
Yeah, I've seen better, but I don't know. So
the thing is, I was actually reading on Reddit that she's one of the only acts with maybe one or two other ones of tonight that like hasn't performed anywhere else. Like this was a total like the opposite of a plant, which is it's funny. The plants are like growing and the people who aren't plants are shrinking. And she's like in that shrinking like
or rather being eaten by the plants.
Yeah.
Fly trap plants.
You got to be on another show if you want to be good on America's Got Talent, Kazi, is all I can really say. But, you know, sometimes people come on America's Got Talent and they get cut, and then the next season we see them on American Idol. We saw it with Nick Fradiani. We saw it with Jenna Renee. Was she Take Me to Church Girl, by the way? Something I was wondering.
Was she?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm still looking out for that girl. I don't know who she
I'm looking out for Natalie Young now that I know that the girl who Simon said was a 7 out of 10 a couple weeks ago, if you remember her. Yep. She was actually one of my favorite acts on X Factor Australia, and I didn't even know it was her.
Everyone is a plant on this show. Like on American Idol, like there are some plants, but not nearly to this number. Or am I just I'm preaching to the choir.
Just go with it.
I feel bad. Kazi probably waited online. Like it's probably raining and she was there.
Okay.
And this poor girl. Let's move on to Bone Hampton. He's a comedian. He gets all of one joke to tell, like in the montage few moments that we see of him. And I was at the gym while I was actually watching this performance, and the gym screen that I was watching had subtitles, and when it panned to like the audience, it said weak laughter. And I was like, wow, even the subtitles are like taking shots at him. And I mean, it's one joke. We don't even like, maybe he was funny for the other 4 that he maybe got to tell during his 90 seconds. Right?
Whatever. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know, honestly. I feel like if he was actually really, really, really funny, they would have put him through. So
The subtitles are vicious at like Jim Screen DVDs. Like they get really obnoxious.
It's not like just that the subtitles aren't just decided by the TV.
I imagine they are. Like I imagine the TV is a sentient being that has and one day when I'm on the treadmill, a hand will come out and it will just hit me on the head, and that'll be it. And then the machines will have taken over. But let's move on to Quid and Misha. This story is this. I don't know which one of these two is the 71-year-old woman, but one of them is a 7-year-old woman because their names are just kind of like they could be boy or girl names. They're dancers, and they play flaries while they perform. And what did you think?
She's mobile for her age. She's mostly just a prop, honestly. They're just swinging her around and stuff. She did a little bit, but it wasn't as much as I expected. They were good, but definitely not Golden Buzzer worthy.
It's funny. I think I was messaging like you about this performance. I was like, "Oh, this is a total fodder act," and then they get the Golden Buzzer, and I wrote, "Shit." I got. That's me just being a horrible person because I'm
gonna post a link to that I'm gonna screenshot that later today. I'm gonna post it on my Twitter.
That was
it did happen, and it was glorious.
I was like, they're probably cut this round. Like they're probably like gonna break them down and say like, oh, you're good, but you're not like. And then you see then the hand is going, and I'm like, no. Yeah, I mean, no knocks against them. They're talented, but they're not gonna win, right? Like we're
right,
and they're not even
after them, and at least one other act of the night could win.
The thing is, I feel like this is another case on America's Got Talent of the story trumping the talent.
Yes, and
I would have cut them this round. Like they were probably like them, but they were on my ranking.
I would not have cut them. They were my number 6.
I would have like tossed them, thrown in Jeffrey Lee, like.
that's arguable, but for me, they were my number 6 or my number 7, somewhere on that route.
And they got the Golden Buzzer.
Yep.
I don't want to be mean, but like this is just. Come on, like this.
Well, you know what?
If you want to give it to a dance act, like if you want to give it to a dance act, give it to
UDI.
Like the. We should not value the story over the talent, is what I'm trying to say. That is the case I'm arguing here.
UDI deserved a Golden Buzzer.
Yeah, UDI is a prime example. We'll get to that. I'm gonna drop another cat pun. This is just getting all.
Nope.
Let's move on to Noah Guthrie, the Glee singer. He comes on stage. He has a story where he was famous and he lost his fame after Glee ended, and he's gotten a taste of the fame bug and he wants some more. So he drives across the country with his father, who's very supportive of him. He comes on stage. He gets through like a couple of seconds of the first song. I don't even know what song it was. Do you know what it was, Eric?
I think I do, but I forget, honestly. I just wrote it as mediocre.
Yeah. And then Simon kind of tells him, all right, we need another song. And he sings Whipping Post by the Allman Brothers, which is it has a pretty good track record of being performed on these shows. Like everyone who's kind of done this usually does it pretty well. What did you think about his performance and story?
Okay. I'm not going to talk about the story because I don't care. I mean, other than the fact that, at least he owns being a plant. You told me that, but yeah, he asked him. Like, yeah, but of course he asked. Who gives a crap? He is not trying to hide being a plant. So good for him on that.
But that's because that's part of his story.
It's because he couldn't hide it even if he wanted to.
I mean, they've done that in the past. I mean, there's some singers in the past where they kind of try to hide their story.
But she can't. I mean, no, he can't. Okay. Anyway, I thought honestly the vocal was the best male vocal of the entire season, plus better than any male vocal last season, plus better than any male singer on Idol this season.
All right, I got a bit of a bold prediction here. Gonna say it. I told this to you, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna predict this is episode 10 of America's Got Talent. I'm going to guess that the final two is going to be Noah and Courtney, and I'm going to stand by that opinion. I'm putting it out there. Do you think I'm crazy, Eric?
I will say they will be the top two singers of the season. I don't know if they will actually be the top two acts.
I wrote down on my notes, like, if this guy was on American Idol, he would be a winner's threat. Like, he's got a lot going for him, is all I can really say. I mean, not to discredit his talent. He is very, very good. And there's one thing that I wanted to note of it is because Simon in his critique says that for the future rounds, we shouldn't need you to sing a second song, which, first of all, have we ever seen like on the live shows, like them request a second song?
No,
because that would be nuts. Like a little bit.
They can't. That's not the format.
But I just feel like he does kind of put that little note out there, like there is some growth there left for you. And because he is so good, I imagine that he's easily going to blow like past their expectations for the next round. And he's just going to build a strong arc for him of like getting better and taking the note from Simon and improving. And I see him at the finale.
I definitely see him in the top 5. I like him a lot. And here's the other thing I like about him, which I'm gonna point out, because I like when acts in these shows capitalize on their time on the shows. And what Noah did last night was he's put up the studio recording of the song he just sang on AGT for free when you sign up for his mailing list. Kudos.
I didn't see that. What, for Whipping Post?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Very smart move. Record the song by yourself and then give it for free when people want to sign up for your mailing list.
I feel like that's got to be like a thing with like America's Got Talent producers. Like, there's probably some clause there that they like.
They'll let them do that.
I remember reading like the contracts people have to sign for these shows is a little insane.
The other thing is AGT is the one show that I've noticed in the past where acts have been able to capitalize on their time on the show, even if they don't make it through. Beach Avenue is the example I think of. Coming Your Way was on iTunes. Feel the Beat was on iTunes.
I think they released that beforehand. Like that was just
literally the day after each one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love Beach Avenue. Like I still listen to their music. It's like easy, like Feel the Beat, Coming Your Way. They're like they're fun songs. It's like I imagine in a car, like just driving to a beach and like playing that song. Like it's just like easy, fun music. Final notes for Noah. Like I said, I think he's a winner's threat. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. You ready to move on?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Jules and Jerome. Really quickly, we see they use a seesaw and they kind of do flips and all these kinds of tricks. I wrote down two letters for my notes, and they are EH. What do you think?
I say that's not $1 million act, not even like a $10,000 act.
The thing is, it's just one trick. Like, it's a gimmick, but we haven't done anything here. Like where do we go from here? Like the audition, they kind of just did the exact same thing. And one thing that I feel like Danger acts shouldn't want to do is make their performances look a little fun. Like this kind of looked like I would never do that, but there were some aspects of it. I was like, that looks kind of fun, and that is like a very bad thing. Do you think I'm crazy, Eric? I think Eric thinks I'm crazy.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
Some people like different games and jumping and.
I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I'm just saying that the fact that you pointed it out is really funny.
Yeah, there are no recordings of me doing that because it would have been an absolute catastrophe. So let's move on to Fratelli Rossi.
No more catastrophe references.
They are an acrobatic brother duo. I was going to say duo acrobatic brothers. I don't even know how to say that. They had this story in their audition where they fell, and this is a case where it's just the exact same as Jules and Jerome. They do this act where they kind of like throw one guy on his legs. It's just one trick, and it's cool, but you can't do the same thing twice, right, Eric?
It's an impressive act, but I have no need to see it again. Very repetitive. I couldn't watch it for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like in the previews, like leading up to this performance, like I knew that they were kind of hyping up the performance, saying, "Oh, we could have mistakes, we could fall, we're still like very like this," but I knew there were going to be no mistakes because if there were, we would have seen them in the trailers. So the fact that there weren't means, But here's the thing: if hypothetically they had fallen, that would have been a huge thing, and they probably would have gone last. They probably maybe even would have gone through, right? No? We did it like 2 weeks ago.
If they fell once, it'd be fine. But they fell in their audition and they fall again, they're getting cut. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down even if they had made it through, still fodder, right?
Totally.
And they don't make it through. So let's kind of move on to I didn't even catch this person's name.
Ben Sax International.
What you said. He's a saxophone player. He has a story where if he were to make it to the live shows, I think he said the king of Haiti. Was it the king or some
powerful official in Haiti? Was
the president, the prime minister, one of those three. I don't know. This is just me being ignorant and not knowing what their leadership thing, how they run their country is. But the head person would have come to watch him perform live. But he is montage. So
bye.
Poor guy. Like, oops. But I remember liking his audition. This one, not so much. But
I'm gonna make a sound effect at some point for the montage of doom.
The montage of doom. There's nothing more deadly on America's Got Talent than zero dialogue. Right?
Yep. Right.
Let's move on to someone we're going to be talking a bit about because Eric seems to really like this person. I do like this person as well, but I have some qualms with his performance. It's Oliver Graves. He's this gothic comedian, and I have on my notes, he's like if Scott Hireman and Andrew DeLeon, like the off child of them. Like it's
I don't know who either of those people are.
Scott Hireman was a drag queen comedian, and Andrew DeLeon was a gothic singer. And it's kind of like the quirky and the goth, and put it together, and you take the comedian, and there you go. He seems like very dry. What did you think about his performance, Eric?
I hope it's a character. If he's really like that, I'd be sad. But yeah, I he's the only comedian this season, stand-up comedian. I need to clarify because we talked about Human Fountains and we talked about all the other ones. He's the only stand-up comedian that's actually made me laugh even once this season. And at this performance, I'll laugh like 3 or 4 times. Some of the jokes are pretty great. Some of them aren't. But you know what? I'll take some of the jokes being great rather than none of the jokes being great.
The thing is, I was watching this performance, and I've watched a lot of comedians. Comedy is one of my favorite acts in like section of the acts for America's Got Talent. But Oliver, his jokes were all like one-liners. Like they're all kind of like they're all kind of like they're not knock-knock jokes, but like they're of the knock-knocks where like they're one and done. Like you say the joke and you're done.
Comedians who do that.
I think that you need more of an overarching story.
No, you don't.
Like,
no, you don't.
I think you do.
Light doesn't have an overarching story.
I feel like you got to be talking about something. You got to be talking about like sports being awkward at this place. Like, there's
No, you don't.
I don't know.
There are plenty of comedians who just do random observations without any segues.
Maybe that's
and some of them are very successful.
I don't know.
Maybe for you don't like it, but don't say that you need that because that's not the case.
The thing is, I still really like Oliver Graves. I honestly still would have probably put him through. And I just want to say, this Judge Cuts round has been like, I can't say a pun, but it's been like a travesty for comedy acts. We've lost Oliver, we lost Leo's, we lost the Human Fountains. Like, comedy is looking pretty rough, Eric.
You know what? Britain's Got Talent spoiled me. I'm okay.
The thing is, another reason I love Oliver so much is because he's not a plant, right? I don't think so. Is he?
Who knows?
The thing is,
I just assume they're all plants at this point.
I mean, he's like him and Kazi are like the only 2 people like that I imagine like waiting on the line together. Like they're just looking sad as like Jeffrey Lee and Angel, whatever is, they're just like chilling in like this inside place, like sipping hot cocoa, watching everyone waiting online. Like it's just, I feel for them, and I've wanted Oliver to move on.
Me too.
I've shared my opinion. It, it needs the overarching story. Is all I can say. But
To you, it needs it. You don't need to say you don't generalize to everybody.
I wasn't feeling it. Feeling it.
You're really trying to get me to quit this podcast after third, aren't you?
Let's move on to UDI dance. They have this whole story where they went to when they went to a school together for poor kids, and they grew up, and they now have the school of their own for underprivileged kids, and they teach them dance and all these cool things. Straight off the bat, they seem like pretty cool guys, right, Eric?
Yeah.
What did you think about their performance? Because they come on stage, they do this kind of a video interactive kind of thing, and
just like we've seen plenty of it before. The difference is the act that I compare them directly to is Light Balance from last season. The difference is I think UDI are a lot better because UDI tell a story. They have a narrative. They actually I get sucked into watching them, whereas Light Balance is just cool tricks. I think that they're awesome, and I want them in the top 5 this season.
I agree. I would also probably put them through.
Do you want them in the top 5 of the season or no?
I need to see one more before I'll like. I feel like they're on the cusp of like having a breakout, like attraction performance kind of. Like they could maybe have like the one more kicker before they are in like the winner potentials, but we'll see. Otherwise, solid performance from them. The thing is, I don't see people like getting invested to voting in them. Like people are more likely to vote for Noah or We Three. You know what I'm kind of saying? Like there's these.
I do, but I'll be voting for them.
All right.
Who we're up against.
Let's kind of move on to We Three. 2 acts left of the night. So We Three's first, it's kind of funny. These 2 acts are like the exact opposite. Like We Three is the most wholesome, like very like emotional thing. And then we have the last one is Sacred Rihanna, who's like death and despair. Like all right. I have a dream pairing for America's Got Talent that I want at the finale. I want a duo performance of Oliver Graves and the Sacred Rihanna. Like somehow the 2 performing together. Like
that'd be great.
What would they even do? Like Oliver would just be like, "She's
Oliver
my new
would
friend."
Be the guy in the box, and he would come out and tell knock.
We need to will this into reality. Like that is the stuff of dreams right there.
No, it would be amazing. Actually, the entire act all of it for the one payoff of Oliver popping out of the box. That'd be great.
Can you imagine, like, if Oliver isn't one of the wild cards and the Sacred Rihanna does that, and Oliver is the person to like come out, and then Rihanna just kind of walked up to him and like sticks out her hand, and then he sticks out his hand, and then they're like a couple, and it was. I just thought it was funny. So anyway, We Three.
My thing is funnier, but continue.
We Three. So they have this story. They kind of really build it up through their confessional stories, where it eventually leads to them revealing that they lost their mother. We know about this from their audition. I'm getting a very strong like religious vibe from these people, which is fine. It's just something that I was like kind of picking up on. They do this. They do another original song, which I appreciate. I love when bands are willing to do original songs. I like this performance. What do you think?
I'm not a fan of the preachiness, but I do feel bad they lost their mom. Undeniably, in my view, they are talented. They are undeniably talented. I personally prefer other acts, but I can't fault them for making it through. I can't.
You know, you knock on their preachiness, which I think there are worse things to spend our times like doing the intro package. Like, it's not like they're trying to spread something good. Like, even if I don't take it.
Yeah, agreed.
So like, at least we're not like wasting time, like having 2 people like argue or something. At least it's something positive. So that's just something. One note that I did have there was one part of the performance, which I don't know if it was just me. It might just be me, but the there was like something was going on with the piano player. Like there's like a part where like the piano kind of like gets out of sync and it gets like a little bit erratic. Just something I picked up on. I don't know if it was like something. It was just something I
didn't
noticed.
pick up on
Like
anything.
I kept watching this part and there was like it goes off and you could like tell like there was someone was like something was going on, but no one else picked up on it. I think they were good, definitely warranting an advanced placement. But I think they're going to make it through. Like we've seen these kinds of stories in the past. This is
They'll make it through the first round of live shows, and they'll get cut in the second.
It's awkward because we had another singer kind of like this, like the kind of religious like trio of singers. I don't remember their names though. This is awkward. There was a mother. She had a recording contract. She was dropped because she had a daughter. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Vaguely.
Oh, I don't even remember their names. This is so awkward. But I see them following that trajectory. Like that is where that story is going to begin, start, and end. But you know, it's a great platform for them. Maybe they'll make some good music afterwards. I don't really usually listen to Christian music, but there's definitely an audience for them. So we'll see. All right, let's kind of move on to the final act of the night, shall we, Eric?
Sure. Let's talk about Asia's Got Talent 2017 winner.
We're going to talk about Planty McPlanterson. It is the Sacred Rihanna. She is a magician. She is very into her character. She never breaks it, which
she didn't even break it when she won Asia's Got Talent.
We'll talk about that in a second because I do want to talk about that. But for her performance, she does this trick. For my notes, I just wrote, this is a very long performance. And if this was the live shows, she might have gotten buzz for it. Do you agree, Eric?
No.
I think she needs to get to the point a little faster.
A little bit, but not much.
This is another point that I want to make that we touched on during the pre-show, Eric and I, but it is something I feel that warrants a little bit of a discussion. So Rihanna, do we call her the Sacred Rihanna or just Rihanna? I don't even know.
Rihanna is her real name, and that's her. Sacred Rihanna is a character.
All right, so Rihanna, she does this trick. She has her doll. She comes down and she picks one of the judges to kind of volunteer to kind of be a part of the act. So she gives the doll to, she picks Mel B. And the trick goes on, and eventually she has someone pop out of this house that she's doing something with. But Mel B is not having it. Is she during the performance, Eric?
No, Mel B was not cooperating.
That's the thing. This is something we touched on, like I said, but in the past, when there's like these kind of creepy, like edgy acts, Mel B is not the person to pick as your volunteer. And for all the times that I've knocked him and say he's a terrible judge and I really don't agree with his decisions,
well, Howie Mandel, both things are still true, but he is a good sport.
Howie Mandel, of all the judges on the panel, I feel is the best sport for these like edgy, kind of like creepy, a little bit quirky kind of acts, because he is willing to go along with it. He does play along. And Mel B, if you just look at her, she's like, no, like she's not going to cooperate. And it's so funny. If you go back and watch Tape Faces, like his final performance, he does it with Mel B. And she's like, there's one point where I'm pretty sure she's like dropping F-bombs like during the performance. Like, just something I want to say is go with Howie. Right, Eric?
Yes, Howie needs to at least serve some purpose, because if he's not a good sport, that leaves no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Any final thoughts on her performance? I mean, I thought it was good. Like I said, it was long. I think she's going to be in trouble though the next round. Like she is one of those acts that I think will probably be cut next round, honestly. Do you think so, Eric?
Well, I have a friend actually from high school who thinks that she's going to win. And I think he's wrong. I think at best top 10 for her.
I'm going to disagree. I think next round, I feel like she's going to do another act. It's going to be a little too long. Simon's going to buzz it. And that'll be it. Like
that's possible. I at best I say you're in 10th place.
We'll see. I'm not as positive. So
at best, I know. I'm saying at best.
Oh no, you didn't catch it. It's good. Don't worry about it. I said I'm positive.
What's the problem with that?
Pun. Like, paw. Forget.
I didn't even pick up on that one.
let's let's move on to the results. So the results are we get the Sacred Rihanna, Noah, We Three, UDI, Quinn and Misha, Cats, the Savitsky Cats, and the Pack Dance Team. So by the way, when Sacred Rihanna gets the results, like there was like the beginning of like a smirk, like just like a little bit. Did you kind of see it, Eric?
No.
No?
I didn't watch the results though.
All right. So
but
anyway.
I watched her on Asia's Got Talent, and she won, and she basically stayed in character.
All right. So of the 7 acts that advance, do we have our winner here?
I say we have 2 acts that have a shot.
Who?
UDI and Noah.
I would say We Three maybe, but we'll see.
No.
On a no. So also we do know that there are going to be some wild cards. Do you predict any coming from tonight?
Jeffrey.
Not Oliver?
I'd like Oliver, but I think Jeffrey.
I want Leo's. If Leo's comes back.
Not going to happen.
I wish. So next week we're going to be seeing Chris Hardwick on the show. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Eric? Or are you?
Let's leave it for next week, shall we?
Let's leave it for next week. I agree. Do you have any kind of final thoughts you want to share about this episode?
I'd give it a B. I didn't hate any of the acts that made it through, so that's good. I guess.
Otherwise, yeah, strong results. I mean, I would rather honestly.
You can switch 2 of the names, but you know what? Other than that, you can't complain.
I mean, swap Quinn and Misha, throw in Oliver, swap the Pack Dance Team, and throw in Jeffrey, and there you go. Like that would have been probably
okay. Yeah,
5 out of 7 isn't that bad, is it?
No.
All right. So, any final thoughts, Eric?
Nope. Let's hope. I don't know.
All right. Well, from Adam's TV Podcast, I want to say my name is Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox. You can follow my 2 blogs, adamsoapbox.com, adamcvblog.com. I just released my new story. It is on my Twitter. You can find it. It's called The Doctor on Parlor Street. It's a short story, only 2 pages. One of the shortest articles I've ever done. I think it was pretty. It was short. It was kind of done in like 2 days, but I liked it. It was kind of a backup plan because the other story was kind of getting a little bit too long. I'm going to save that for the next one. But go check it out. If you like it, if you think it's not great, let me know. I always want to hear what you guys are thinking about my articles. Eric, where can we find you?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter, youtube.com/EricAscher01, and fox.ericascher.com, where I'll have the notes up as soon as this video is saved. So, yeah. I'm all over the internet now, and I always have been.
So, thank you to all our viewers who have joined us. Eric, I want to say thank you for joining me. I love these discussions. They're so much fun. Next week is...
I love it except for the cat puns.
I guess. We'll see you guys next week. Otherwise, though, I do want to say I'm going to be podcasting again on Saturday night with Brian and Jason. We're going to be talking in the next week of Big Brother. Pretty exciting stuff going on in the house. The feeds are pretty lit. But otherwise, thanks so much, guys. To all our viewers, live long and prosper.